Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing? Love the way you look in the mirror and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from Create Yourself That Today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Today is Wednesday, guys, and every Wednesday in 2020, we will be talking about weight loss Wednesdays. So that's what it's all about. And today, specifically, guys, we are talking about intermittent fasting, different kinds of intermittent fasting protocols that I found personally useful working with a lot of my clients. There are actually 3 types of intermittent fasting that I found to be very effective for most people. And guys, intermittent fasting, it's not some magic bullet. There is no some fat burning button that you push with intermittent fasting. No, intermittent fasting simply works because it helps you to organize your eating behavior. It helps you to have some sort of schedule, some sort of plan that you can easily and simply follow in order to get results by limiting a certain aspect of your eating behavior. Like if you're trying to lose fat, nutrition is your best bet, and you gotta figure out how to organize your eating behavior, how to limit it so you start getting results. And intermittent fasting as a strategy for that, for limiting your food behavior, for planning, for organizing your food behavior, it's a great strategy. And that's why it works, because it's simple, because everyone can do it. It doesn't require you to count anything except for, looking at the clock when it's time to eat. And then it helps you to make better decisions around your meals, around your food, and have some sort of structure and yes, no kind of limitations. If it's time, you eat. If it's not the time, then you don't eat. And that simplicity is really easy for your brain to work with, and that's why intermittent fasting works. Plus, a lot of people find it very sustainable and actually not that limiting when it comes to food amounts, for example. But of course, if you approach intermittent fasting like I don't eat till noon or after 6 and before that, or after that, anything goes, it's not gonna work. Like, you can have one meal a day, but if at that meal you have all sorts of processed foods, ice creams, cookies, and you allow yourself basically everything, then you can still actually gain weight, and especially if you eat really late at night, close to your bedtime. But so let's start talking practicality. Let's start talking actual strategies that I found, again, work for most people. And one of those I use myself. Actually, it's kind of like combination of 2, but let's start speaking details. So number 1, what I like to call early bird diet, or basically people limiting the time when they eat, stopping eating really early. To give you an idea, my personal rule for 2020 is to stop eating by 3:30 tops during the day. So after 3:30, after 3 p.m. usually I don't eat anything. And I don't start eating most of the days until 12 p.m. Sometimes if I'm super active, sometimes I do start to have breakfast after 9 a.m., but no earlier than that. But I do stop eating at 3 p.m. For a lot of people, it might look something like stopping eating by 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. That's usually what early bird diet means. And again, for most people, it's actually somewhere around 4 p.m. That's when they cut the window. There are a few reasons why it might work really well. One of those is you make much better decisions earlier in the day because there is no decision fatigue. Your brain has all the energy and all the reserves to make better decisions, and that's why people who stick to early eating time usually make much better decisions about their food. And also, guys, remember yourself, like, when do you usually overeat or make not so great eating choices? If you're anything like the most people, like myself, like all of my clients, you probably make your worst decisions close to your bedtime. And so if you decide that you're not eating, 5 hours, not 5 hours, but more like 7 hours before your bedtime, if you decide to stop eating by 4 p.m., then all of your decisions about food are going to be pretty great. And that's why it works for a lot of people. The other reason why it works so well is because if you stop eating at 4 p.m., it's not like you're going to bed right away. You still have almost like half of your active day in front of you, and you're pretty active. And so your body has a better way to use those calories that you ate for those meals, not just, storing it, or also your glucose sensitivity, your gut bacteria, all of that works better early in the day. So early bird diet works again for many reasons, but I believe one of the major reasons is that we just make better decisions during the day, and even all things equal, you will start eating better if you just stop eating earlier. And again, it just helps you to limit your eating window, and you are much less likely to eat a lot more than, you're just going to be eating much less than you would if you didn't limit anything. So anyhow, guys, how do people usually do that, this early bird diet? Well, usually people would have a lighter breakfast. For some people, some people have their breakfast at 7 a.m., depending when you wake up, when you go to work. Some people have their breakfast at 8 a.m. So people would have a lighter breakfast. I usually recommend to have something like 3 eggs and with some spinach and onions, maybe tomatoes. So there is some fiber, there are vegetables. Spinach is super high in different nutrients like potassium, for example, vitamin K, vitamin A, some magnesium, some calcium, some manganese, some iron. There is vitamin C, folate, so a lot of great stuff in spinach, and leafy greens, dark leafy greens like kale, like Swiss chard, like collard greens, amazing to add to your morning omelets. And so maybe some onions, some mushrooms, some tomatoes for umami or savoriness. And you're good to go. Eggs are in themselves are powerhouses of nutrition. So 3 eggs, vegetables, tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, spinach, and then people would usually have a really great dinner, like whatever you might feel you want these days. Some fish, some meat, maybe some organ meat, some more vegetables, maybe some berries or some fruits, some nuts and seeds. I usually also recommend people to stick to whole foods and eliminate certain food groups no matter how much you fast, like, processed carbohydrates like cookies, also, processed foods of any kinds with fats and carbohydrates like ice creams, like pizzas. Just stick to whole foods and have a couple of meals. Stop eating early by 4 p.m. and that's your early bird diet, and it takes some time to adjust, of course, but after that time of adjustment you'll find it pretty natural. But that obviously doesn't work for everyone, and that leads us to the next one that a lot of people find very effective when it comes to weight loss, especially, but also for weight management, especially when people travel a lot or they don't have time to think a lot about their nutrition. So people find this last one very useful, especially if you're someone who like to have their social life at night, who like and want to have dinners with family or friends, or maybe work dinners. So the next one I called the dinner club. Basically, you're gonna have one meal a day and it's gonna be around dinner time. Like, I do not recommend to eat later than 2 hours before bedtime because of the digestion, and that needs to happen in order for you to have good night's sleep. But dinner club, one meal a day, works for a lot of people who want to maximize their weight loss, but who also want to enjoy their full dinner without having to count, anything really. But again, I do recommend to limit processed foods and stick to whole foods, but just don't limit the amount. Eat all your veggies, eat all the meat or all the fish, eat all the eggs, all the maybe berries or nuts or seeds, whole foods that you want to eat. And one meal a day at dinner time, and the rest of the day you just have very productive days. And at dinner you can relax and enjoy your dinner. So again, that works for a lot of people who like to have their social life, who like to have big dinners, who are not breakfast person or people or lunch people, and you like to work through your whole day and then relax at dinner. And again, it's a very effective strategy, but the only thing is I do recommend you to limit all the processed foods or eliminate them completely and enjoy the variety of whole foods in any amounts. I do recommend you to stop eating 2 hours before your bedtime for sleep quality and digestion. And I do recommend you to walk after your dinner for 20-30 minutes to improve digestion, to improve nutrient partition, or basically how your body uses nutrients. And that's basically it. Dinner club diet, one meal a day at dinner time. And also why it works, guys, is because there's only so much you can eat when you eat one meal a day and you only eat whole foods. Like a lot of my clients, they say that, it's so easy for them to be in a caloric deficit, even though they allow themselves to eat all the whole foods they want during that dinner. Because again, when you eat only whole foods, it's very hard in one meal to eat the amount of food that exceeds 2,000 calories or 1,800 calories. It just, even for myself, I'm quite used to one meal a day, but it's hard to eat more than 1,800 calories from whole foods. It's really hard, especially if you chew your food. So dinner club. And the last but not least, it's also very, very popular among people. And that one you can find in many books and online in many communities. So that one is breakfast skippers. I like to call this intermittent fasting protocols. And basically you skip breakfast and you usually start eating at 12 p.m. and you stop eating at 8 p.m. And you have two 2 meals. You're gonna have lunch. Usually it is something lighter, some protein, some vegetables, some whatever you feel like. Whole foods, again, I always recommend to stick to whole foods, no matter what the diet or what the intermittent fasting protocol. So you're gonna have a lighter lunch, because usually most people are pretty active during the day and you don't want to carry around a lot of food in your stomach. And then a more substantial dinner at dinner times, whether that be with your family or your friends, or at work for your business dinner, where you allow yourself more food because you don't have to do much after that. But again, I recommend you do the walk, you stop eating 2 hours before bed. And yeah, from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's breakfast skippers group. So to recap, you have your early bird diet that I'm a fan of, and you basically stop eating. The best practice is stop eating by 4 p.m. My cutout time is 3 p.m. and you would usually have lighter breakfast, like maybe 3 eggs with spinach, with onions, with tomatoes and mushrooms, and then you have your lunch, whatever you feel like having. Then you have your dinner club group, when you have only 1 meal a day at dinner. And then you have your breakfast skippers, where you basically skip your breakfast and you eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day. And there are a few guidelines that I would also like to share with you guys. So walking after your last meal for 20-30 minutes, it's an amazing hack that you can use to help yourself even more with metabolism, with better digestion, with better sleep, and of course with weight loss. The other one, very important one, I believe, is limiting foods, not amounts. So basically, you do the intermittent fasting and you also tell yourself, I'm not gonna eat processed sugars, I'm not gonna eat processed grains, I'm not gonna eat So limit the foods, not the amounts. But then when it comes to whole foods, you allow yourself to have, all the protein you want, all the meat, all the fish, all the eggs, all the vegetables you want, or maybe all the nuts, all the seeds. And that leads us to the next point that I'd like to share with you for your success, guys, is when you limiting the foods, first and foremost, eliminate the foods that you tend to overeat. So my example, for some reason, it's really easy for me to stop eating nuts unless they are roasted hazelnuts or cashews. And that's why I don't eat cashews and roasted hazelnuts. Like raw hazelnuts, I have no problem stopping eating, but when they're roasted, something switches in my brain and I just eat a lot of it. Or for me also, sweetened with stevia chocolate, even though stevia doesn't add any calories, compared to 100% dark chocolate. I believe even though sweetened with stevia chocolate doesn't have the calories of sugar sweetened chocolate, it still hacks something in my brain that doesn't allow me to control my hunger properly or my eating behavior. So now I'm sticking only to completely unsweetened dark chocolate. So I eliminated the foods that I tend to overeat. Then the next point is give it some time, guys. Any change in behavior, in your eating behavior, in your digestion, it will take time for you to adjust. At first you might feel really hungry at your usual meal times, but then after a while it will feel like your second nature and you will have no problem sticking with it. So give it, a week, 2 weeks. The next one, focus on whole foods most of the times, because they will give you the most satiety, and also they are the easiest to control. If you chew every bite of your food, and I'm talking also about all sorts of smoothies and juices, extract or shakes, like if you chew your food, your whole foods, it will take time, it will promote the most satiety, and you will eat much less. So stick to whole foods. Another one, focus on protein. eat enough protein, guys. Protein is by far the most satiating nutrient, especially if it comes from whole foods, not from shakes. So focus on getting enough protein. I would recommend to go as high as, for most of you, 1 gram per pound of body weight when you start out. If you manage to eat that from whole foods, believe me, guys, you will experience much less hunger. Like, try me. And then the last one, but not least, focus on colorful fiber. And by colorful fiber, I mean all the vegetables, fiber rich, and like carrots, like Brussels sprouts, like bell peppers, all these fibrous vegetables. The more fiber, the better. Also, some fruit, low carb or low sugar fruit work the best for most people. So focus on colorful fiber that will also keep you satiated, and plus you will have to chew through all this fiber that also takes time and energy and adds a lot of satiety. So that's it for today, guys. To sum it up, we have 3 fasting protocols that you might try, whatever feels like the thing that works best for you, that might work best for you. So our early bird diet for people who feel the best when they stop eating early. Dinners club, 1 meal a day at dinner time. Breakfast skippers, 2 meals a day from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And focus on whole foods, guys. So that is my best advice for you today on this weight loss Wednesday. So let me know if you need more details about any of those protocols. Reach out for any help with any questions to your health and nutrition and weight loss coach, Angela. I'm always here to help you. Thank you guys for listening, for tuning in, for your attention. Really appreciate you. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.